All right, let's talk about one of history's most brilliant and honestly most misunderstood figures, Mulla Nasruddin. Now, you might think of him as just a village fool, maybe a simple jester, but that's not the real story. He was actually a profound master of human psychology, and his stories, well, they're packed with timeless strategies for dealing with a pretty complicated world.
And this quote, this is everything. It's the key that unlocks his entire way of thinking. Mullah just got it. He knew fear isn't some big mystical force. It's just a weakness, a gap that opens up the second our own minds stop thinking clearly. And boy, did he become a master at using that gap against other people. So, how did he pull it off? Well, Mullah's greatest strength, his superpower really, was that people always underestimated him. He had this humble, kind of unassuming vibe that made him like a perfect mirror. He could see all the fatal flaws in other people, their pride, their greed, their paranoia, and they never even put their guard up. And this is absolutely crucial. Mullah almost never used force. His main tactic was always psychological. He figured, why bother fighting an opponent when you can get their own mind to do the work and defeat them for you? He literally weaponized their emotions. Let's run through a few quick examples, and you'll see the pattern. So take the story where a thief steals his donkey. Mullah doesn't go hunting for the guy. Nope. He just calmly announces that he's going to do what his father did. That's it. And the thief's imagination just runs wild with all these terrifying possibilities. His own fear gets so bad that he brings the donkey back himself. Or how about the liar who wouldn't pay a debt? Mullah tricked him into accidentally revealing that he knew the exact spot where the deal happened, which, of course, proved he was lying. And when he had to deal with a haunted house, he didn't run away. He just calmly went inside and found a regular old thief who was just using a scary story to keep people away. See? In every single case, the opponent's own weakness was their downfall. Okay, so let's shift gears to his second big strategy. This one he saved for the arrogant, the proud, basically the intellectual bullies. His secret weapon for them? The logic of the absurd. He used it to completely dismantle questions that were never really meant to be answered in the first place. The classic story goes like this. A super arrogant scholar rolls into town, dead set on humiliating all the local wise men with impossible questions. He's just brimming with pride, totally convinced nobody can touch his intellect. But instead of sending out their top scholar, the court sends in, you guessed it, Mulla Nasruddin, looking as simple and unassuming as ever. So the scholar starts with his first trick question. Where is the exact center of the earth? It's a total trap. But Mullah doesn't even try to give a real answer. He just points down to his donkey's hoof and says, it's right there. And then, here comes the genius part. He adds, if you don't believe me, feel free to measure. He just completely flips the script. He puts the burden of proof right back on the scholar. How can you prove him wrong? You can't. It's checkmate. The scholar is getting frustrated now. He tries again. Fine. How many stars are there in the sky? And Mullah's response follows that same perfect, absurd logic. He says, the same number as the hairs on my donkey. And once again, he throws down the challenge. If you doubt me, you can start counting. It's just brilliant. So for the knockout blow, the scholar gets personal. He asks, all right then, how many hairs are in your donkey's tail? But Mullah's response, it's just legendary. He turns the absurd logic right back onto the scholar's own body. The same number as in your beard, he says calmly, and we can prove it. We'll just pluck one hair from your beard and then one from my donkey's tail until they're both gone. The scholar, faced with the painful proof, is just completely defeated. He leaves in shame. But Mullah's wisdom wasn't just about outsmarting other people. Really, the most profound lessons he learned were on his own journey. There's this one story about him traveling to the fabled Market of Wisdom in Samarkand because he thought he could sell his cleverness for a fortune. He gets lured there by a trickster, but when he arrives, he finds the whole market is just a city full of scams, Everyone's trying to sell shortcuts to wealth, secrets to fool people, that whole thing. And Mullah, well, being Mullah, he beats them at their own game and even makes a little money. But he's so disappointed. This isn't wisdom, it's just greed. As he's leaving, the trickster who lured him there gives him one last note and tells him it contains the greatest treasure of all. So Mullah gets all the way back home, and he finally opens the note. Inside, there's just one single word: qanat. It's an Arabic term for that treasure that can never be stolen, that never runs out. It means contentment, just being satisfied with what you already have. And this profound realization just hits him. He traveled thousands of miles, outsmarted countless liars, only to find out that the greatest wisdom in the world was this simple satisfaction he already had, right there in his humble home. So what can we actually take away from all these incredible stories? I mean, beyond all the humor, Mulla Nasruddin is offering us a really clear and practical philosophy for life. First, you have to understand psychology. An opponent's own fear and their own pride are way more powerful weapons than any sword. Second, use absurd logic. It's the perfect way to diffuse those arrogant and unanswerable challenges. Third, expose fear for what it really is, just a lack of reason. And finally, maybe the most important lesson of all, the ultimate goal isn't to be the cleverest person in the room. It's to find qanat, that true inner contentment. This final bit of wisdom from the stories just says it all, doesn't it? Mullah's tricks, yeah, they were clever, but they were always used to serve a deeper truth, whether it was exposing a lie, humbling an arrogant person, or revealing a hidden flaw. Cleverness is just a tool. Truth is the destination. And all of this leaves us with one last thought. In our own lives, we are constantly facing our own arrogant scholars, our own manipulative thieves, and of course, our own fears of the unknown. The question then is pretty simple. How can the unconventional wisdom of a man and his donkey help you navigate it all?